I got engaged to a blind Duke. Episode 174. Oliver swallowed hard at the sight of the Duke's sharply honed appearance, which he hadn't seen in a long time. He looked more dangerous and gloomy than when he was blind. His knees felt weak because the content he had to report would obviously provoke the Duke's anger. Your Grace. When the Duke silently raised his gaze, Oliver pretended to read the report to avoid his eyes. The Emperor's approval has not yet arrived. Gerald's lips curved up crookedly. What's so difficult about stamping a seal on that piece of paper that he's dragging this out for so long? We've sent 2 letters urging him, but there's still no response. Is the Emperor seeking revenge for what happened last time? A cold sneer formed at the Duke's lips. I apologize. Oliver couldn't bring himself to speak disrespectfully about the Empire's Emperor, so he offered an apology instead. He's a petty man, so he's probably doing something pointless. I apologize. Oliver broke out in a cold sweat and bowed his waist. Send another one. If he doesn't approve this time either, tell him I'll get married without the Emperor's approval. Oliver squeezed his eyes shut. The Emperor's approval was essential for noble marriages. The Duke knew this fact well too, but he seemed thoroughly irritated. Yes. I understand. Oliver bowed politely and quickly left the office. When the door closed, Gerald roughly ran his fingers through his hair. Kay. Yes. Where's Marin? She's taking a walk. How's her mood? She seemed listless, but felt a bit better after talking with Miss Diana. Find out if Diana needs anything and send it to her. Yes. After Kay quietly disappeared, Gerald closed his eyes and leaned his head against the chair. His chest ached as Marin's disappointed expression flickered before his eyes. He had been anxious watching her care for Perida, but he never knew she wanted a child so desperately. A part of his chest collapsed, feeling like he had crushed her hopes. What if she says she can't marry because she wants a baby too much? Gerald unconsciously fingered the ring on his hand. He only wanted to make Marin happy. Thinking that she was probably suffering because of him even at this very moment, the blood flowing through his body turned cold. If only he could explain why he didn't want a baby. When Gerald opened his eyes, he saw the bookshelf. The book written by the 20th Duke immediately caught his eye. He had given it to Marin, but she said she wanted to keep it in his office, so it was placed in the most visible spot on the bookshelf. Kay. Yes. Kay, who had returned at some point, appeared silently. Tell Oliver that I'll be absent for a while. Understood. After Kay disappeared, Gerald took out the family seal from the desk drawer. Then he walked to the bookshelf and pulled out the oldest-looking book. Behind the book was a round button. When he pressed it, the bookshelf slid to one side and a black door appeared. In the center of the door was the family crest. Gerald held the seal up to it. Soon the black door made a clicking sound and slid open smoothly. As he entered, a spacious room filled with self-illuminating stones embedded everywhere appeared. It was the family head's chamber. Gerald carefully examined the family head's chamber that he was entering after a long time. All kinds of research materials, as well as the diaries and records of family heads, were organized in order. This was his second visit since first entering after receiving the seal from his father. He hadn't felt the need to come here. During his first visit, he had looked around once, then just took some books that seemed helpful and left. But now, there was something he wanted to find here more than anything else. Whether it was possible to share the family's secrets with an outsider. And just maybe, whether this painful ability could be eliminated. Gerald erased the thought he had just had with bitter eyes. Although his ability had manifested at too young an age, most family heads manifested their abilities when they were old enough to control them. So the previous dukes considered that ability a blessing. Such previous dukes would never have thought of ways to eliminate the ability. A sad shadow fell across Gerald's broad shoulders. Soon the black door closed with a bang. Marin headed to the office to have another serious conversation with Gerald. But Oliver was standing in front of the office door. Oliver? Lady Marin. Oliver greeted her with his usual eye smile. What are you doing here? His Grace is not in the office. Could I perhaps wait inside? We don't know when he'll return. Oliver gave a troubled smile. I see. Was he standing in front of the door to prevent anyone from entering? Thinking that Gerald had left indefinitely without saying anything to her, an empty wind blew through her chest. Oliver, noticing her disappointed expression, quickly added, he probably won't be away for very long. I understand. Will you let me know when he returns? Yes. I'll inform you right away. At Oliver's kind words, Marin forced herself to hide her expression and left. Late at night, the round full moon shone particularly bright. Gerald still hadn't returned even after several days had passed, no one knowing where he was or what he was doing. Marin went outside as if drawn by the moonlight. The warm breeze on the verge of summer gently brushed past her hair. Marin walked aimlessly wherever her feet took her, then stopped abruptly in place. A shabby tower appeared before her eyes. She had only been contemplating whether it would be okay to come here again, but eventually her feet led her to this place. She slowly climbed up while feeling the stone walls of the tower with her hands. When she gently pushed the door, she heard a creaking sound from the old hinges. The tower-top room filled with moonlight was exactly as she had last seen it. A desk, wardrobe, and small bed. Marin went to the small bed and sat down, then carefully stroked the surface of the bed. Did you really live here? If so, I think I would be quite sad. It was when her faint murmur scattered like a breeze in the empty room. Don't be sad. Marin was startled when she suddenly heard the voice of someone she had longed for during the past few days. Gerald? Marin hurriedly turned her head. Gerald climbed over the glassless window and entered inside. He approached her directly, knelt on one knee in front of her, and gazed at her intently. Gerald, whom she saw after several days, had a sharper jawline. Had he not been eating well either? Why have you lost so much weight? Marin reached out with pitying eyes and placed her hand on one side of his face. He tilted his face as if leaning against her palm. I haven't. Where did you go without saying anything? I was worried. He stared at her silently, then slowly parted his lips. Marin, I love you. Don't leave me. Marin was startled and slightly opened her mouth. I know how much you want a baby. So I'm afraid you'll say you're leaving me. His honest feelings, confessed in a calm voice, pierced her heart. What a foolish person. How much she loved him, how could she ever leave? But, Marin. Even if you say you're leaving, I can't let you go. His deep gray eyes, mixed with pain and obsession, became a little darker.